And here we go. I am Lerard Smalls, and yes, this is Rise of the Black Warrior podcast. So, I'm excited that we're here today. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your very first time that's checking out this podcast, I want to thank you. Whether you're watching me now in the studio or just listening to us, I want to just say thank you so much for chiming into the conversation. We are here to talk about power. That's the conversation in this podcast, and we bring you messages from mentors about things that matter. So today's message is it's on a comparison. I've got a message on a comparison between two words that play out in a man's life and even in females' lives. But I specifically am talking to the hearts of men that's shaping the world right now. You know, I'm listening to the news, I'm watching social media, and something became very evident to me that people don't recognize the difference between these two words and the impact that it has in our environment and our world. And those two words are force and power. Force and power. Two separately different things, but people equate them. They think that they're the same, and it's really different. And I'm going to break it down a little bit for you guys today so you guys can get some understanding from my perspective. It's just my perspective. But I think that if you get this difference, you'll see where it's playing out in your life and see if there's a way that you can get more strength and access more power. So force and power, right? They're both energies, all right? It takes energy to create either one of them, and then they exude energy out into the world. You can force something to happen by applying some type of energy to it and making it happen, using a consequence behind it. Hey, I'm going to force you to do that because I've got this consequence that if you do not do it, I will apply it, right? There's physical. I can hit you. I can whip you. I can chain you. I can lock you up. Police use force to get you to do things, all right? That's force. Then there's another form of energy called power. All right? And power is the ability to make something happen, to get something done, but not requiring force. It gets things done using a different methodology in belief. It is the belief in something. When somebody believes in you, when something believes that this thing has some type of energy. If I believe that this person is credible, if I believe that this person can get something done, they have power. If somebody is an influencer on social media and they can get a whole bunch of people to buy a particular product, they have power because they move people without touching them. That's the difference. Moving people without touching them is power. Now, what's the dividing line? What's the line between these two energies? Let me give you another word. Will. It is the will. It is the sheer will that people have about this particular thing. My will. All right. Now, if the will is for you to do what I want you to do, right? And you accept it, you accept the fact that I told you to do it, and you are being forced into it because I've got some obligation, that is force. That is now me applying an energy against your will. I have now taken some energy, applied it against your will, and that is what forces you to do it. Now, the same on power. If I apply some belief to your will, if I show you something, inspire you, if I motivate you, if you see something in me and it pushes energy towards your will, and at that point that it hits your will and you believe, now I have power. Look at people like Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a small man in comparison physically in stature. He didn't have a whole bunch of money. He didn't have, whips and chains. He didn't have a whole bunch of guns. How is it that he was regarded as a man with tremendous power? Because people believed in him. He could access their will to do something, their will to make things happen, their will to make sacrifices. When you can access somebody's will, you now have power. So, I give you all these definitions and all this understanding. Why? Because I want to give you more power. I want to give you power over yourself. See, if you have the power by understanding you can access your will and get yourself to do something, you will do those things that you have not been doing that you know you need to do. You have to find a way to motivate yourself into believing that you are now that person qualified to get something done. You have to have will. You have to access your willingness to do something. That is what gives you power over yourself and a situation. Secondly, the people around you. If you wish to control an environment around you, you have to find something that accesses their will. You have to find a way to contact and connect with the willingness of that person. That's power. See, too long we've been accessing force. And people in the media, people in the news have been accessing force for way too long. See, force is not going to solve the problems of people who are emotionally charged. See, when you force somebody to do something, they're emotionally charged, they're going to reject it. When you force somebody to do something, they may not believe in you. They may not want to do it. You are pushing them against their will. And a man pushed against his will is of the same opinion still. You've not changed anything. But see, if you can change a man's belief, if you can change a woman's belief, if you can change your children's belief, you have accessed their will. And now as a man, you have power in your family. Now you have power with your business partners. Now you have power in your church and in your environment, in your communities. Now you have power over yourself because you have accessed the will. Because you have now showed and proved that there is something that's valuable on one side of it. You have showed other people the true value of yourself. And when they believe in you, you connect to their will. And that's what will give you power. And that's what I wish for you. See, we're in an environment right now where there's a huge loss of power, especially for men, especially for black men. And we can reclaim, we can gain power that has been lost just by developing belief in ourselves, in our communities, in our ability to make money, and show our wives, our children, our community, our leaders that we ready to dominate and do what God called us to do. So that's my thought for you guys. Understand the difference between force and power and how to access it through will. All right. So I'm so glad you guys checked this podcast out. Again, you can always check us out here on iTunes, on Spotify, and you can definitely watch us and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch us right here in the studio. I'm going to challenge you today. I'm going to challenge you to be the greatest man that you could possibly be by willing to face the person in the mirror. Go out to riseoftheblackwarrior.com. Check out what we've got. We've got an opportunity for you to really see yourself for who you are and gain power in the environment that we're in. Now remember, you are only one decision away from changing your whole world. All right, everybody. Peace.